Hey friends, so what are we doing? Okay, well, I'm going to do a follow-up on our little experiment, of from kombucha to Scoby. And yeah, my nails, I'm giving them a break. Those nails my daughter did finally, they finally came off. After like a month, they did really good. But yeah, this is our experiment, that we have been doing. And I used this exact, an identical bottle of this kombucha. If you didn't watch that, you may want to go back to that video. It may possibly be linked in this one. I don't know how that works. I know on YouTube it might. But if you look in the bottom, do you see that thickness? I went by that. I had 2 bottles of this, and I chose the one that had the most thickness in the bottom, because I figured, well, that's the one that'll probably possibly grow the Scoby, so, and that is flavored. Yeah, I couldn't find unflavored. Could not find it anywhere. So, but right here is our Scoby jars. We had 2 of them. We had 2. We had one that I actually took part of this and put it in a sweet tea, and that one actually growed a Scoby, one that I could actually pick up. The other jar, I took part of this and poured it into the jar, and I did not put any sweet tea. It started growing the Scoby, but I couldn't actually, it was very thin, very faint. So I ended up, pouring, putting that new Scoby into some tea, which I'm going to show you. And then I took that liquid from that Scoby and poured part of it into that tea and part of it into the other Scoby jar that only had this curiosity of seeing, So it has been 5 days. And yeah, you usually check it 7 to 10 days. So I'm checking it at 5, and I'm not going to post this until, we get to where I want to actually show you the, to see if it really does what we want. But yeah. Okay. So we're going to start with, I think we'll start with the one that, we're going to start with the one that was only this to begin with, only kombucha to begin with. And then I ended up pouring some of that tea from the other one into it. So we're going to get a look-see and see how that's looking. Let's see, I can show you from the side view, a side view. That does look like a Scoby. And yeah, and see, we got a lot of like Scoby stuff in the bottom there, but yeah, it's actually looks like it's making a Scoby, so that's good. I wasn't sure about this one. I was not sure, but that does look like that is a Scoby. It does look like I will be able to take my hand, possibly if it keeps growing, and get that out. So that's looking pretty promising. I don't want to actually open it. You have to watch out for fruit gnats and or fruit. Some people call them fruit flies, the little gnats. But yeah, I don't want them getting in there. And I have got some of those in here because I've actually put out some. Well, I'll show that in another time, but. Yeah, and then we've got this one. Now, this one here is the one that actually had a Scoby. This one had a Scoby. It wasn't in this jar. It was in another jar like that one I just showed you. Just a normal wide mouth quart jar. And I took that out and I put it into, this is just a clear cookie jar I had. I took the lid off of. But my goodness. Yeah. I want you to just take a look at that Scoby. Do you see that? okay, the one that I put in there has went to the bottom. Yeah, it went to the bottom. I'm trying to see where it's at. It's in the bottom. It's right there. It went to the bottom from the get-go, from the start. But look at that Scoby. Look at that Scoby. It's still thin, but that is a Scoby. That's a big, giant Scoby, because this jar is pretty, you know, it's pretty round. And again, I don't want to open this because I do have those gnats in here. But look at that. You see how big around this jar is. And it is covering the whole, you know, aspect of this jar. So, this is day 5. And, you know, we're looking to get a look-see at this at day 7 to 10. And it should be ready. I'm not seeing any mold, thankfully. Fingers crossed. Not seeing any mold, so that's a good thing. But yeah, this is our, what we did with this. So, it looks like, you know, that does work. But you can see that Scoby in there. And when I come and bring you back, you know, day, whatever, 7, 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there, we will take it out. My sister-in-law's wanting one, so yeah, we'll be packaging up her one into a jar. And then we're going to start that hotel. I've already got it started, but you know, we're going to keep adding to it. But yeah, because I can't use all of this liquid. But look at that. Look at that. So yeah, that looks like it really worked. It's done what we wanted it to do, as long as it doesn't get any contamination. So this will be day 5, and I'll bring you back on, you know, well, for you it's not going to be but a second. For me it'll be days. Hey friends, okay, we've come back. Our experiment, we've come back. This is 7 days. So yeah, I told you I'd bring it back. I'm not thinking though that we're going to be moving the Scoby today. I think I'm going to wait. I think I'm going to wait to maybe around 10 days. Give it a little bit longer, but we're going to get a good look-see. Okay, are you ready? Okay, let's look at the one that we didn't put tea in the first time. But the last time when we looked in there at 5 days, we put some of the tea out of the other one in it. Yeah, so that was the 5-day look. And if you didn't see the video where I started making this, you need to go watch that one, because it's a total experiment for me. Okay, you ready? Look at it. Oh my God, it's getting thicker. Still thin a little bit around back here, but it's definitely a Scoby. Look at that. That is definitely a Scoby. So I'm thinking around 10 days that should be pretty good size, so that we can put it in some, like the motel or something. I'm not sure yet. Not sure. Yeah. Okay. Number 2. The one that when we started it with the kombucha, we poured part of the kombucha into actual sweet tea. Yeah. And we actually got that Scoby. So then we took that Scoby and part of the tea and put it into this big old container of tea. Yeah. If you didn't watch that one, go back and watch it. Okay, you ready? You ready? Look! That Scoby is ginormous. It's so big. And And the original is down in the bottom. He's down in the bottom. So let's see if I can put you down here. Okay. Now, you see the size of him. The original is right here in the bottom. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Well, it's down there, but look at the size of that Scoby. That is a massive Scoby, and it has grown so well. There's lots of bubbles in there. Oh, mercy. Let's raise you back up. I'm going to see if I can show you the bubbles. Oh, my goodness. It's got bubbles all around it. See them? Bubbles. Look at them. Oh, my goodness. Okay. So far, everything's looking good. Yeah, keeping them covered up. They're in a dark area, out of bright light. We'll come back. I'm not going to post this yet. We're going to come back probably around day 10. And that's when we'll move them over, or we'll check on them, and we'll make sure that they're viable. You know, they haven't got any contamination or anything like that. Come back. Okay, this one, the experiment, it went to the bottom. But, yeah, look. It dropped to the bottom now. I did put a little more tea in there because it looked like it was peaked. So that's why it went to the bottom. It's thicker. It's a lot thicker than it was last time. See here, you can see there you go. Yeah. Now that was the one that I made from just plain kombucha that I bought at the store. And it was flavored. Yeah, peach flavored. So, this one here is the other one. There's one in the bottom, as I showed you. And then this one made on top. Look at the size of that sucker. Look at it. Yeah. So, that is the one that I used to the kombucha from the bottle. And I poured it in tea. So, yeah, I like that. I think that method tends to make a nicer, because the kombucha or the Scoby that's in the bottom got thicker quicker than this one here was very sluggish and thin. And it's like it's, you know, it worked harder because, you know, it didn't have that tea. I did put a little bit of tea in this one though. So, yeah, it can kind of maybe catch up. But as you can see, this one here is very thick and looking really good. I mean, seriously. And this is our experiment. This is not the ones that I ordered. So I'm very, I'm kind of shocked. But, you know, because the ones I ordered were nice thick ones. But look at the size of this sucker. Yeah. It's got really thick. So I'm going to end up, this one here is ready. This is ready. I'm going to end up giving one of these to my sister-in-law. There's two in here. There's two in here. There's only that one in here because it was so slow. But I'm going to end up giving one of these to my sister-in-law. And let her try her hand at it because she likes kombucha. But there's our experiment. You tell me. I think, you know, yeah, you can definitely grow Scobies from this. Yeah, that is exactly the brand and the flavor that I used. That's it right there. Yeah. And if you can see in the bottom, see that? You see that in the bottom? What I done is whenever I went and bought these, I tried to look for the ones in the bottom that had the sediment, you know, and had that like a little Scoby. Yeah, people, little Scoby looking thing in the bottom of these. So yeah. And if you didn't see the first video, you need to go watch it because we used part of one of these bottles in here with tea in one of, you know, not this. It wasn't in this container. It was in another jar like this one. I had 2 jars like this one. This is the one I just poured pure kombucha in. And it was more sluggish. It took longer. The other one, jar just like this, I put tea into. Like that. And then I poured part of a jar of or a bottle of this in there. And oh my goodness. Yeah. Well, as you can see, so definitely works. So you don't have to actually order a Scoby like I did. But you could if you want to, if you don't want to fool with this, because this did take time. This took time, you know. But at the same time, though, you know, I redid these. And the ones that I ordered, go watch that video. It's a whole separate video because I didn't want them to be so long. But I put them at the same time into, like this one I housed in that tea. This one I just put into, I didn't even actually move it. I just poured some of the tea out of this one into this one, and it started growing quicker. But I put those 2 new ones into new containers, and this one has outdone them. It's went quicker. You see how thick that one is? Well, they're not that thick. They're big, but they're not that thick, and they're all the way across the top, but a lot thinner. So yeah, you can use that. You know, I thought about trying to do some different brands and just see if it works with other ones, because they had different ones. This one here, I don't know. I like the name of it. Peach. I like peaches. So, you know, I'm like, well, I'm going to go with that one. But, yeah, and I've still got to try this because I haven't even tried it. I've tried it back in the day whenever I was younger and I grew Scobies. I drank that. Yeah. You know, like it was, yeah, the vinegar tasting and potent. I didn't try it since you know, they come up with flavor in it. So yeah, I'm going to probably try this one. And, you know, I just drank it for the benefit. So I didn't drink it like a glass of it or anything. I just drank so much for the benefit of it. That was it. You know, kind of like some of your hot teas may taste a little nasty, but you drink them for the benefit. Yeah. So I didn't know anything about flavoring them and making them taste better and all of that stuff. But I do now. But there you have it. There is our conclusion. I'm not going to take it out of there because, like I said, I'm going to give one of them away. But you can see. You can see. I mean, that's a nice Scoby. That's a nice Scoby. This one over here is nice too. It was at the top. But like I said, I put some tea in there with it, and it went down. So, you know, it'll either come back up or it'll grow a new one more than likely. But, yeah, it's a nice one too. I did, like, you know, I did go get, these are tea towels. I decided to use tea towels. Yeah, Walmart had some on sale, so I bought several of those. They will be only used for, you know, as long as I'm doing the Scobies. That's all that they'll be used for, is doing the Scobies. Just like I have my certain dishcloths for baking bread. And then that's, you know, that's just my cotton towels. That's what they're for. Certain ones. Pretty sure they're cotton. Don't hold me to it. But, yeah, there we have it. Our experiment is done. And it worked. So, I may end up getting some of those different varieties of the, you know, they have different brands. And do experiments on them just to see. Just to see. But Synergy, there you go. You have it. It worked. Scoby. Scoby in the bottom.
Scoby on top. You know, and that's a nice one right there. But that's what I've got for you, people. And yeah, go back and watch the other video where I started this experiment, and then watch where I ordered Scobies. I also had a friend give me Scobies. They did not make it. They were my first, and they actually grew mold. So I tossed those. But yeah. And if you like the content I create, please do consider following it. I would truly appreciate that. Leave me a comment. And yeah. Till next time, people. Later, friends.